Welcome to the Classy Career Girl podcast. I'm your host, Anna Runyon, founder and CEO of Classy Career Girl, one of Forbes' most influential career sites. This is a podcast for a community of women who want to turn their passions into work they love. You'll learn how to become happy, successful, and balanced with class, skill, and style. We believe that you can create your future. So stop delaying your great life. Go put yourself out there. You can have your great life and career right now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Classy Career Girl podcast. We are continuing on our series on time management habits of highly effective women. And today we're talking all about focus and batching your time. Highly effective women, they batch similar activities together. And I'm going to give you behind the scenes. I'm going to share with you like a little experiment that I have been running myself that has been really helping me when it comes to focus and batching. I love focus is my number one strength on the Strengths Finder assessment. If you haven't taken it, you definitely should. But I love focus time. So I'm excited for this topic today. So in the last episode, we figured out the categories of your time. So we went through an episode in part 3. We went through to figure out what are those tasks that should be in your focus time, admin time, and your sacred time. What I want to do today is to help you schedule those categories into your calendar. Now, if you've been following along, which you should be, you should have already scheduled your sacred time in your calendar. That comes first. I don't think I clearly explained how important sacred time is in part 3, but it is the most important time. It is why you are on this planet. It is what your purpose is. It is the time that's going to give you energy and mindset to live your fullest potential and show up for focus and admin time. So I'm laughing because my daughter just walked in, and not my old daughter, but my youngest daughter. And she's probably not going to be too happy when daddy takes her away. Oh, she didn't cry. She was good. That was very surprising. I did not expect to see her. So speaking of focus, she definitely distracts me. So where were we? Let's get back to here. So it happens, distractions, it happens, but we get back and we focus in, right? So sacred time is what's going to give you the energy and the mindset to live your fullest potential, to show up for focus and admin time, the other two categories. And so sacred time is why I do what I do. It's why you focus and why you admin, right? Like it's why you do all the other things in your business. It's your big why. And so that's why we schedule that in your calendar first. You schedule that vacation time, you schedule the time off, you schedule your self-care time, your workout time, your morning time, you schedule all of that first. And then we come to what we're talking about today, which is your administrative time and your focus time. I'm not going to go over what those mean. You got to listen to part 3 to figure that out. Now, one thing I do want to be clear about is you don't need a lot of time when you're focusing and batching. When you're operating how I'm going to teach you today, you do not need 50 hours or 40 hours. You really don't. You can launch your dream career or your dream business in 10 to 15 hours a week in small 1-hour blocks or even 15-minute blocks. I do a lot of work in 15 minutes a day. So the first question you want to ask yourself for figuring out when your focus time should be is what time of day works best for you. You want to ask yourself, like, when do you have the most energy? When are you the most awake? When are you the most excited to work on your business or your career or your goals? Now, this can change throughout your life. This used to be morning time for me. That is when I was most focused. I was refreshed and the kids were at school. A lot of you guys know my schedule has very much changed recently. Now my afternoons are my focus time and my work time because I'm homeschooling or traveling around Europe. So my morning time now is homeschooling the kids. That is actually my priority, my focus time, super important in the morning. So I'm recording this in the afternoon. We've already done our few hours of homeschool in the morning. I've already done my workout. I've already done my morning time. I've already had breakfast and lunch. And so now is my work block. And this works great because we're in Europe. And so actually, it's really good because this is with the time change. This is when a lot of my clients are starting to wake up and get moving themselves in the United States. So this is my work block. And this is now my podcast recording time block, which is why I'm recording this podcast for you. And it's Tuesday. So that's the first thing that you want to do based off your schedule right now. What works best for you to schedule in these focus time blocks and these administrative time blocks? The second step is then to look back from the last episode, part 3, look at your list of administrative and focus activities. We made a long list of those categories and we figure out what blocks we want to make in our calendar. So for my focus time, I have a time for sales calls, I have a time for coaching time, I have a time for writing, I have CEO time, which is like a high level vision and planning and strategy for my business. And then I have creation time, like creating this podcast. For my administrative time, I have email management time, I have team management time, and I have social media time. And so after you categorize your time, you have to learn to batch these similar activities together. You're going to get done so much more done faster this way. This is the key. This is the secret, is batching the similar activities together. This is why I said you don't need 40 to 50-hour work weeks. We can batch similar activities together and get a lot more done in smaller increments of time. For example, I don't check and respond to emails all throughout the day. I have one time per week where I respond to emails. Same with social media. I have 1 hour blocked in my calendar on Mondays to create my social media content and schedule social media content and respond to comments. So yes, I jump on Instagram stories and occasionally share that throughout the week, but that hour on Monday is when I'm creating my content. And this has saved me so much time and it has allowed me to focus on that focus time that's going to help me reach my goals. So now that you've categorized those activities, remember you'll want certain days to do certain things. And so for me, I try and do my creation and content creation and marketing content first thing on Monday mornings. I'm actually doing it on Tuesday today because we took yesterday off and traveled around, or we did some sightseeing here in London with the family because it was nice weather. We were having some really rainy, and we still are. Today's rainy again. Really not great weather. And so we looked at the calendar and we're like, Monday's the day. So I had to kind of juggle all of my time blocks onto other days like Sunday and Tuesday so we could have all Monday free. So you have certain days, ideally, that you do those certain things. So Mondays are my first thing I start in the mornings, content creation on Monday, marketing. I put on that timer when it's time for me to do my social media. I put on that timer and I go. And I use an app called Toggle, Toggl. I don't think there's an E at the end. I have it up right now, toggl.com. I'm tracking my time right now. As I record this podcast, I track all my time. Usually about every quarter, I track a week to see how much time I'm spending on a week and like what I'm working on. And so I put on a timer. When I put on that timer, it's like, okay, I got to go now. Like I am podcast focused right now to record this podcast. I block out that time in my ideal week. So I know when it's administrative time, when it's sacred time, when it's focus time, and I add those blocks to my calendar. So I have a calendar on Google Calendar and it is my ideal week. So if all goes perfectly, this is what that ideal work week looks like. Of course, it always doesn't go perfectly, but that's the goal that I'm striving for each day when I wake up and start fresh. So this is what I want to share with you today. So this is something I haven't talked about before, but this is a way that I'm batching and focusing in real life behind the scenes in my company right now. My goal in our company is to simplify all of our tasks and to set us up for success for hiring over this next year. We're going to be doing a lot of hiring, but I want to get our systems down first. I've hired in the past and I really want to have systems ready for that person when they do come on board in our team. So my new experiment right now, I have mapped out our Classy Career Girl org chart for the next 6 months over the next 3 years. And so right now, we have a small team, so I play a lot of roles. So there tends to be a lot of things on my to-do list. Now, if you've ever woken up and felt like you have like 30 things you need to do, you probably run a business, right? You're probably CEO. You're probably doing all the things. And that for me right now is I cover a lot of areas in my business. If you run a business, you know that long list of to-dos that you have because you wear so many hats as a business owner. So what I've done is I've gotten super focused on the categories and roles of my business and what that org chart looks like. So there are actually 17 roles in my business on our org chart that go into 4 different sections: marketing, sales, fulfillment, and operations. And so I do a little bit right now of all of those 17 roles. So even though I have some people, we have a small and mighty team, I do a lot of little parts of all those 17 roles, was what I've realized. So what I do now is I put on my focus hat of the role. So right now, the role that I'm playing as I'm recording this podcast is content manager. I am recording this podcast. I am going to work with the team to get it on as a blog post, to get it published to iTunes, to get it posted on social media so you know that it's here, to get it sent out as an email. So if you subscribe to our email newsletter, you hear about it. So that is the role that I'm playing right now. And this has really helped me focus because now I don't go to work with this long list of to-do items. I go to work with a checklist for each of my roles. And I say, okay, today I am playing the role of content manager. And so I am going to go down my content manager checklist and I'm going to be the content manager in my business and complete all of the tasks for that role. Next, because I haven't scheduled our social media for the week because I was gone yesterday, next, I'm going to put on the hat of social media manager. There's been times where we do have a social media manager helping us in our business. Right now, we do not. So this is my role, and so I'm going to put on that role of social media manager. I'm going to go down the checklist, and so for that hour, I'm going to set that timer, and I'm only going to be social media manager. I'm not going to check email. I'm not going to answer team questions. I'm not going to do anything else but be that focused social media manager. Once I've completed all those tasks, I check those off, I take a break, and then I can start the next role of the day. And so as I go through the week, I am checking off the box. So I'm checking off the roles, the cap that I put on for all of those 17 roles in my business, while also creating the systems and the org chart and the tools and the resources and the job descriptions and the checklist that whoever I hire is going to use when they come on board. So when I do hire that social media manager, I have everything all ready to go and they're going to be able to be off and running because I have built this. I know what needs to happen. And they're going to be able to focus and batch their time as well. So we'll have a very efficient, well-running team. So that's batching. That's only focusing on one role at a time, nothing else during that hour. If I were to hire a social media manager, that social media manager wouldn't be working on, CEO tasks or accounting or anything else, which as business owners, we tend to get pulled in all the different directions. They're not going to focus on anything else in that hour. So when I'm playing that role of social media manager right now, I need to only focus on that task for an hour. No emails, no fulfillment for clients or answering client questions. I'm just 100% focused on social media management in that blocked batch time. So that's what I do. Instead of letting all of the tasks stress me out, I have put all the tasks into roles and categories and go down the checklist. So if you run a business, I highly recommend doing this as well. Just do a brain dump of all the roles that you play and then think about your vision. You guys know I'm a huge fan of thinking through what you want your business to look like in the future over the next 3 years. What is that org chart look like for you? So that is our episode today. I do want to remind you, if you are interested in our certification program, we have a certified career coaching program here at Classy Career Girl International to help you build a thriving and profitable career coaching business by the time you graduate. It's a 6 month program, and we're going to be opening up another cohort. We go through it together with a cohort over the 6 months. And so we only open twice a year. So we are getting ready to open again for our fall enrollment, which will start in October. So if you are interested, make sure you get your name added to the waitlist so we can send you more information and we can get on a call and discuss or if a program is a good fit for you, you can add your name to the waitlist at www.classycareergirl.com/certification. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I can't wait to hear about your focus and your batching and how much time this is saving for you and how you are finally using your focus time to reach your goals and dreams like never before.